What can $10 get you when you're looking for a flashlight? Well, it can get you 400 lumens in the Anker LC40 flashlight. Now, I love Anker products because of their battery power packs that they offer. I have several of them. I throw them in my backpack when I go to work. I have them in my outdoor systems when I go hiking and backpacking, and they work great. I use them on a very consistent basis. They're compact, tons of battery life. But I had never taken a look at any of their flashlights, which they do have a few of. And when I saw this going for $10 and offering the 400 lumens, 3 modes, and depending on the battery that you choose, and there's 2 different battery options you can do, up to 6 hours of battery life, I said, I gotta get my hands on one of these and test it out. So I hopped over on Amazon, picked one of these guys up, and I've had a chance to really put this thing through the average ringer, what you and me, the average Joe, are gonna put this light through. So let's go ahead, jump to the tabletop, show you what this light has to offer and whether or not for $10 it's worth purchasing a 400 lumen flashlight from Anker. So let's go ahead. So before we dive into all the specs, features, all that type of stuff, I wanted to show you some just average abuse of what the average consumer would probably put this flashlight through, and it held up fantastically well. So if you expect a $10 flashlight to be able to be driven over and drop from an F-15 and just all that type of stuff, great, knock yourself out. That's not what I expect out of a $10 item. There's nothing wrong with torture testing. That can be fun. I actually want to use this thing and implement it in my system. So I did my average testing that I would put an average flashlight of this caliber through. If they were claiming this was like a $500, mil spec, Navy SEALs are rocking this thing flashlight, well then yeah, totally. I'd be shooting this thing and throwing it up against, walls and, driving over it with the heaviest vehicle I could find. But for $10, I was very pleased with the durability. So some basic dimensional specs for you here. This is aluminum in the body. It's gonna have a diameter of 1 inch. It's gonna be 4.8 inches from one end to the other. And it's gonna weigh, with 3 AAA batteries in it, it's gonna weigh 4 ounces even. So very compact for what you're getting with the power and the batteries that they've decided to go with. The lens is recessed into the body, and as you saw there a couple times in the torture testing, I dropped this guy right onto the lens. No cracking, no damage whatsoever. That is a Cree bulb in there, or Cree, light. So that is the industry standard. That's what you expect. And it will produce on high 400 lumens. Now on the back here, we have an actuate button with nice texturing, and there is nice ribbing all along here. It's not slick anywhere, which really gives you some good grip, particularly if you're holding it, in your palm or something like that. Very easy for you to grab and turn on, turn off, that type of a thing. And the button is recessed as well and does come with this lanyard. Now, something to note is that the lips here are designed so that you could stand the light like this and illuminate a location. The lanyard is designed in such a way so that it's giving it not an even surface. Now, as long as it's pretty flat, you can balance it on a table, something like that. If it's not very balanced, it's a little trickier. That is something that myself and many others have complained about, that if they had just lowered the lanyard hole slightly and run it through there, then you wouldn't have to deal with that. It would be a little bit more stable. So just a little note there, not a big deal. Again, at the price point, it's hard to nitpick and complain for everything we get. Now it is also water resistant, and it is IPX, which is the water rating system of electronics, level 5. So that's about middle of the road. This isn't something that you can throw into a river and let it sit there for 5 minutes and then pull it out and then it's going to possibly, keep going. It will be able, if you dunk it really quick or it's raining or something like that, it should easily be able to hold up anything that you would, expect it to run, that type of a thing. But this isn't like an underwater flashlight or something you can submerge for hours and it's going to keep on trekking. Now let's go ahead and take this little guy apart. Now here are the 3 pieces of the system. It comes with this little pod that holds 3 AAA batteries. Now this is the way that I would prefer to run it. That's why I bought it, and that's the way I've tested it with 3 AAAs. So you just drop this little tube in there. seats rather nicely, and you just screw it on down and you're good to go. Now this will take a secondary type of battery. I will be annotating exactly what that battery is in there, so that will help the battery life to last longer. The lumen content stays the same at 400 lumens at max, but from everything that I understand, and Anker's website is not super clear, but from reading other reviews and just doing my own research, what I've learned is basically it'll do about 4 to 5 hours, and that's what I've seen with my AAAs. On the AAA system, it will run for 6 hours if you use the other battery that I just annotated in that is rechargeable. So it's just kind of up to you. I use AAAs. I look for flashlights that will run usually either AAA or AA or are USB rechargeable. Those are the 3 flashlights systems that I really look for in this day and age, because AAAs and AAs are very accessible, very easy to use. I have lots of rechargeable as well as one-time use ones around the house. I don't like using a lot of specialty, special battery flashlights, because then if they burn out or they run out, then you gotta like special order them, or they cost a lot more. Sure, they may be more compact and give you way more lumens for that small compact size, but they seem to be more of a hassle to me personally than they're worth at this time and this phase in my life. Things may change down the line, and maybe they're more accessible down the line, or maybe they come up with new ways of charging them that are a lot easier, but that's just me. So I have tested all this, and all this testing was with the AAA battery power pack, and I've been very pleased with the performance at between 4 and 5 hours of juice with the high setting. All right, let's talk about the actual power, how it performs, and the different 3 modes that they offer. Now, the first one, again, high, is 400 lumens, as you guys have seen, and I was very pleased with the performance, and I'll be running in some light as we go along with each phase that we look at. Now, the center is very focused, very intense, so at close ranges, it's a little bit difficult to see clearly what you're looking at because it's so illuminated, but for further distances, at about 5 feet on, very pleased with that. Great distance throw as well. This is a great, almost like mini spotlight. So if you have a big yard, you need to see things far away, and you really want a good focus beam that's not kind of wide and dims out pretty quick. This is very focused, and then illuminates the larger ring slightly less so. But very pleased with that 400 lumen capacity. Now you can either click on, click off, and the memory is kind of goofy. Sometimes it will remember and move to the next level down of the mode, whatever the next level mode you had was. Sometimes it doesn't do that. So there is an extremely fast strobe feature that I'm about to go through with you. So if you have epilepsy or deal with seizures, please turn off now. This is extremely intense, the strobe feature we're about to look at. So this is, again, high. Very happy with the high performance. Now if I just tap the bottom, it will, let's make sure here. There we go. It'll drop. Now, I can't find anywhere where it actually tells me what lumens it is. It'll drop about 25%. That's what I can tell you. So right now it's at about 75% power from everything that I can tell, just register with my naked eye. I couldn't find anywhere on the website that it would tell me what the actual lumens was. It's still very intense, so I could imagine it's got to be 300 lumens-ish, which means I can only imagine that it's going to extend the battery life long term. You still get great throw, you still get great visibility in everything that you're looking at, everything that you're seeing, and it's still going to give you a long-lasting capability and extend the battery life that you're using this flashlight with. And I do like that. I just have to touch it. I don't have to click through or anything like that on the back button as well. Now, the strobe feature. I don't know what this was for, because this thing is just so intense, so ridiculous. The only thing I can think of is just disarming somebody, and throwing them off. And if launching this in somebody's face is going to really send them for a loop. I mean, it is not going to be enjoyable. I hate even doing this with you on the camera. I mean, this would be way too intense to ride a bike with. I mean, you could have somebody have a car crash behind you or in front of you if you're riding with, and it would hurt your eyes over a long period of time. So this is pretty ridiculous. This should have been slowed down, and is really, for me, the only thing that I could ever see this useful with is some sort of defensive feature. You flash this in somebody's eye, and they're going to really have a bad day for a minute or two while they recollect their thoughts. So I'm going to turn that off because that's insane. So kind of odd there on how intense they decided to go with that strobing feature. SOS is always awesome, or just a good blink, that would be maybe half that speed would have been appreciated. Now, as we talked about in the intro a little bit, the price point is insane. $10 is what I paid for this. They go between $10 and $15, just depends on who, what, when, where, why. We will have links in the description below over to Amazon. When you use those hyperlinks, that's always a great way to help support the channel, help us buy gear just like this to test out and review for you guys, the viewers. Well, folks, there you have it. Yeah, this is not some, mind-blowing $80 flashlight that has, 7 different modes and 5 different ways of carrying stuff, and it's super tight, and different things like that. But for the money, again, and from a company that offers a great warranty and that I've seen great success with their battery packs, and from everything that I've done with this light so far, tossing it across the yard, dropping it, and just using it for either home defense if you needed to use it for that, throwing it in the glove box, throwing it in a bug out bag, throwing it just in your everyday work environment, and you just have a backup flashlight that's going to give you a heavy lumens and use 2 different types of batteries and just giving you options. I think it's a great backup flashlight for the money. So I can't recommend this enough. In the $10 price range, which there's not a lot going on in this size and these options for $10. So I hope ultimately, guys, this video has helped you out with your purchasing decisions and whether or not this is going to fit inside one of your systems and how you use flashlights. As always, thank you so much for coming over here, checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Check us out on all the relevant social media as well. The links in the description below over to Facebook, Instagram. That's always a great way to see what's up and coming. And finally, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.